Back to Harley. We are saddened by the negativity on social media over the last few weeks designed to divide the Harley-Davidson community. As a company, we take this issue very seriously, and it is our responsibility to respond with clarity, action, and facts. See, this is where I stop believing anything they're about to say, right? We're saddened by the negativity designed to divide the Harley-Davidson community. So the people complaining about racist policies are the ones spreading negativity and are the ones dividing the community. All right, Harley, I see you. Earlier this year, we initiated an internal stakeholder review to better align company activities to the needs of both our business and community. Based on our review, we're committed to the following. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, we see it as every leader's role to ensure we have an employee base that reflects our customers and the geographies in which we operate. It is critical to our business that we hire and retain the best talent and that all employees feel welcome. That said, we have not operated a DEI function since April 2024, and we do not have a DEI function today. We do not have hiring quotas, and we no longer have supplier diversity spend goals. All right, so already in the first bullet point, all of these articles, Harley-Davidson is dropping diversity initiatives after right-wing anti-DEI, Harley-Davidson dropping DEI policies, Harley-Davidson slams brakes on woke policies, Harley-Davidson hits brakes on DEI, Harley-Davidson dropping DEI policies, MAGA celebrates Harley-Davidson DEI statement, Harley-Davidson cuts DEI practices after activist backlash. Woke Harley-Davidson ditches DEI, folding to right-wing. Based on our review, we are committed to the following: diversity, equity, and inclusion. When every single news article is telling you that they are dropping it, and one of the first things they say in their thing is, we are committed to this thing, this should set off red flags to absolutely fucking everyone. They literally said it right there. For some reason, people are celebrating this as a victory, and it's not. And it's like, I know the people who are anti-DEI know what diversity, equity, and inclusion means. So if you are anti-DEI and a company says, yeah, we're committed to DEI, why would you celebrate that they're getting rid of it? Yeah, hashtag bridge alert, dude. Man, that's crazy how the English language, I know. I feel like I'm living in fucking an extra crazy clown world because so many people are just like, yeah, this is great. And I'm glad over here on the side, some people are calling it out, like Quartering said, I literally cannot believe you thought this was a good idea. Holy smokes. But Robbie over here is like, we've done it again. And one of these doors, I'll bring this up big. I'll make it big. DEI at Tractor Supply. Again, Tractor Supply had the most believable letter getting away from DEI. Obviously, I don't believe them 100%. Definitely want to make sure that they're actually doing that. John Deere did not get rid of wokeness, did not get rid of DEI. They doubled down, just like Microsoft did. DEI at Harley-Davidson is not going away. They quite literally just doubled down on it. So I don't know why he's celebrating. I don't understand. Am I retarded? Like, what? John Deere, hey! And them saying we have not operated a DEI function since April 2024. I don't think it matters if you've funded or promoted a DEI event. If you are still committed to the tenets of diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you are still committed to operationalizing DEI as a business practice, so you don't need to have visible DEI officers and employees, it will just be the job of everyone at the company, well then diversity, equity, and inclusion isn't really an initiative at all. It's just normal, isn't it? Not this time. Their board and CEO aren't changing. Do people really believe they're gonna drop it? I just like, Business Employee Resource Groups, or B.R.I.G.E.s, to ensure alignment of our B.R.I.G.s with the business. Moving forward, we will be providing executive management to each group to exclusively focus on professional development, networking, and mentoring. I haven't looked into what Harley Davidson has for employee resource groups. Let me see if I can do a quick fucking Google search. Let me see if I can just do Harley Davidson employee resource groups. 4 hours ago, 42 minutes ago. CEO Action for Diversity and Inclusion. Okay, all right. Harley Davidson dropping DEI, 21 hours, 19 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 1 day, 17 hours. So everything is so muddied by everyone reporting how Harley Davidson is getting rid of DEI that I can't even find Harley Davidson's actual employee resource group information in a cursory Google search. If someone can find their information on this, I would appreciate that. They just want to rebrand from bike boomers to bike for groomers, unironically. Oh, here is one. All right, so this was a tab that I opened, and I didn't think it was specifically Harley Davidson, but it turns out that it is. Turns out that it is. All right, so we got a Harley Davidson little logo here. Do I have a date? Do I have a date on this? Don't really have a date, but I mean, all right. So Business and Employee Resource Groups, or B.R.I.G.E.s, which again is what Harley Davidson is referencing here, Business Employee Resource Group, B.R.I.G.E.s. This is CEO Action for Diversity and Inclusion, a challenge. At Harley Davidson, we believe in creating and sustaining an engaging, diverse, and inclusive workplace where every employee gets to bring their whole self to work. We launched our version of affinity groups and networks called Business and Employee Resource Groups, B.R.I.G.E.s, in 2013. We wanted these groups to be connected to the business while also being a resource for employees. Actions. We leveraged the 4C model, community, commerce, career, and culture, by Robert Rodriguez to provide a framework for our B.R.I.G.s to align their actions and activities. What? In addition, we staffed each B.R.I.G. with a senior leader as a sponsor. This proved in the right level of oversight to help B.R.I.G.s get the traction they need to be successful. Since 2013, we have launched 7 B.R.I.G.s: Women, African American, Latina, Veterans Military, Asian, LGBT+, and Young Professional. The B.R.I.G.s are engaged in activities that tie to our Harley Davidson Foundation and benefit our communities. They help support business initiatives aligned with our strategy and take part in culture and career-building events that inspire growth and development for their members. A quote from the Matthew S. Levatich, CEO of Harley Davidson. Freedom is personal, and when we think about our company purpose to fulfill dreams of personal freedom, and as we all see the meaning we bring to a world of individuals who use Harley Davidson to make a statement about who they are, diversity is as powerful an idea in our business as you can get. With our purpose...
Cat raid. What the hell is this spicy cat raid?
Hey, Malari Katatsu, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome. With our powerful purpose, we are striving to be the most customer-led company on the planet. Customer-led company, eh? We'll only truly get there with a genuine curiosity and passion for the great diversity in our world, and by reflecting that in all we do, how we act, and what we believe. Yes, comrade, seize the means of production. Yeah, they're doing the bridge thing. I didn't want to, without looking it up, right? I knew that B.R.I.G.s are also language used in the diversity text in Amazon, but I didn't want to immediately just say, yes, Harley Davidson's B.R.I.G.s are also just more DEI nonsense. But now we have here, Harley Davidson's B.R.I.G.s are just more DEI nonsense. So again, their first point immediately tells us that they're lying. Fat B.R.I.G.s.
Every time they say B.R.I.G., I just think of fat B.R.I.G.s in the sewer.
So their first point, they're already lying. Their second point, to ensure alignment of our B.R.I.G.s with the business moving forward, we'll be providing executive management to each group to exclusively focus on professional development, networking, and mentoring. So they're saying in point 2, according to this, that they're going to be giving additional support for mentoring, and I've already forgotten the other word. mentoring, professional development, and networking. They're going to give more resources to women, African Americans, Latinas, veterans, Asians, LGBTs, and whatever young professionals happens to mean. So I guess if you're white and or male, get fucked, actually. Force feed porked. Let's see if they keep lying. Oh god, I'm dying. I'm gonna vomit. Please, no one cares about vets. You know, they added that in there, but, you know, customer-led apparently means alienating your customers for a fringe cult. It doesn't sound too profitable to me. When you think about what these people are doing, right, remember everything you've learned about B.R.I.D.G.E.D.EI. You are operationalizing DEI as a business practice. You are making diversity, equity, and inclusion part of the DNA of your company, part of everything you do, and part of everyone's job at your company. Doing this, you're going to normalize DEI. You're going to make this just a normal thing that is inescapable. And the modern audience that they are trying to create will see this as the normal thing. They will be customer-led because they will know nothing else besides what this ideology is. When you hear Berg, you think of Dinkelberg from the Fairly Odd Parents. Same! This is where I'd put my Berg if I had one. Glerbs, thank you for the £5. So as an assigned manager for a Berg, just a DEI officer. Yes. Amazon had a weird name for them as well. They were some sort of like ambassador. I think it was Bridge Builder was like their name or some shit. It was really fucking weird language they used. It's a shame because you like the idea of riding a car engine as a bike. Sponsorship and affiliations. We are reviewing all sponsorship and organizations we're affiliated with. Actions stemming from that ongoing review include all sponsorship activities will now be centrally approved and managed efforts through the company or the Harley-Davidson Foundation. As a consumer brand, we will focus exclusively on growing the sport of motorcycling and retaining our loyal riding community. In addition to the support we already provide to first responders, active military members, and veterans. So once again, with the information we have, they're lying about getting rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're lying again about getting rid of it because they're doubling down on their Bergs. And then here, they say that they're focusing exclusively on growing the sport of motorcycling. Where when you see the quote on this page from their CEO, and they say that diversity is one of the most important tenets of their company. All right, it's just like, if they're embedding this already in their company's mission statement, them saying that they're focusing exclusively on growing the sport of motorcycling does not mean that they are not also including DEI in that. The Harley-Davidson Foundation is committed to driving positive change in Milwaukee, such as through the recently unveiled Davidson Park at our Junio Avenue headquarters. That has nothing to do with anything. Why would you even mention that? What does that have to do with anything? We built a park! We did nothing wrong! Employee training. The company continually evaluates its training opportunities to ensure they are right for our workforce. Training provided will be related to the needs of the business and be absent of socially motivated content. Only legally required training has ever been mandatory at Harley-Davidson. Once again, if this legally required training... If they're going to make DEI the job of everyone at the company, that's just normal business training, man. That's the easiest weasel word ever. Never miss an opportunity to virtue signal. I fucking guess so, man. We believe having both a broad employee and customer base is good for business, and that ultimately, everybody should experience the joy of riding a Harley-Davidson. We remain committed to listening to all members of our community as we continue on our journey together as the most desirable motorcycle brand in the world. United we ride. I love corpo speech, zero arguments, zero facts, 100% yapping. Pretty fucking much, unfortunately. Pretty fucking much. And as if As if to put this even more poignantly, because I guess they expect people to read their, like, little fucking Twitter graduation announcement, but they're not going to check their website. Harley-Davidson still has on their website right now an inclusive stakeholder approach. We take an inclusive stakeholder approach to ensuring profitable growth and sustainable long-term value for our stakeholders, our planet, people, and communities. Even before, like, getting into bridge nonsense, stakeholders was always a red flag in the face of shareholders instead. Beyond sustainability and ESG, environmental, social, and governance, we seek to drive desirable positive impact for all our stakeholders based on the simple premise: we all do better when all are included.
Not to further portrait this as a cult, but in Catholic Church one of Pope's title is Pontifex, a bridge builder between heavens and men.
Oh, that is kind of interesting. I did not know that name, even though I attended Catholic Church for many years. Ikaron, hey, thank you for the $25 doodles. Thank you. Big, thick knowledges. To be fair, they never said they were getting rid of it, not even a little bit. Oh no, I know they never said that they were getting rid of it. But a lot of people have read this and have been celebrating. Like I said, I showed off this Google search where literally every single news website is reporting that Harley-Davidson is cutting their DEI practices, and that people are celebrating that they've cut their DEI practices. And people are celebrating. It is all over Twitter. So I'm wanting to point out that no, Harley-Davidson is not dropping it. They're doubling, tripling, quadrupling down.
Sally, your boyfriend lets you have
They're just hoping that they worded it in a nice enough way that enough retards believe that they're dropping it and stop looking into them. Stop noticing. Trust us. We got rid of it. That's written by journalists. It's the same as when, I can't remember if it was Robbie Starbuck, if it was somebody else, but it's the same as when Sherm said that they were dropping the E and going to just D and I. And a whole bunch of people who were anti-DEI were retarded and believed it and celebrated. And a whole bunch of the true believers, TM, who basically are just empty husks running on propaganda, also believed that Sherm was dropping equity and not just changing the language, because they have been programmed to respond to language as stimuli. And so since they were dropping the equity from the language, these people lost their fucking minds and were just like, no, but this is important. If they get enough big names to celebrate it, people will believe it's gone, which is unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. But back to this. Our focus areas: inclusion and belonging, driving positive impact in our communities, and creating a path to net zero. Recognize the interdependence between healthy societies, a healthy planet, and prospering inclusive economies. And what do you mean by an inclusive economy, baby? And I like how they're also using the inclusion and belonging. They aren't using the equity word here. Not using it. So they have not even removed this from their website. There is literally zero signs that they are dropping DEI. If someone is talking to you and saying, we have gotten John Deere and Microsoft and Harley-Davidson to drop DEI, you are talking to a retard. And pretty obvious subterfuge for anyone with eyes to see. It's just like, I understand people want wins. These are kind of wins in the way that the companies are scared enough to need to use propaganda to convince you that you're winning, right? They're wanting you to look away. They're wanting you to think you've actually won the battle so they can just continue on as normal without anyone paying attention. But the fact that they need to actually start obfuscating more is in and of itself a tiny win, in my opinion. Because they've just been mask off for ages with this. They've just been like, we're not getting in trouble with the law. We don't have to care about what people on Twitter say. We're just going to keep doing it because it's a moral imperative. It's good in that we won a battle. It's bad that people think we won the war. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. The 5th gen information war continues. Pretty much. The culture is shifting. It is. And I'm happy that it is. And that's why I keep talking about this shit. Keep noticing. Don't just take the corporate placations. And along the same lines, I had another Another article from B.R.I.G.E.DEI. Let me just read the B.R.I.G.E.DEI Smart Brief, like little summary thing, if my browser will fucking agree with me. Holy shit. So in B.R.I.G.E.DEI's Smart Brief, it said, social justice and policy, DEI training faces backlash from white employees. Oh, they're just, I was being very honest with it now, like Amazon, eh? DEI training is facing legal challenges with at least 7 court cases alleging it constitutes workplace discrimination against white employees. Joshua Young, a Colorado corrections officer, argues that the mandatory anti-racism training in his workplace created a hostile environment. And that article is here. That article's here. Does DEI training discriminate against white people? Courts will decide. As the focus of the workplace trainings has shifted from anti-bias to anti-racism, multiple plaintiffs allege such efforts tread on their civil rights. Anti-bias was a language that I didn't really catch on to because it was used quite a long time ago. But in looking into B.R.I.G.E.DEI and in reading stuff from different companies, again, Amazon has been very, very bold in talking about all of this. Amazon and Sherm both spoke about using AI to dismantle unconscious bias. So unconscious bias is something that all white people have, and you need to constantly work to not have that unconscious bias. Bias training unironically makes people more racist. It does. And we all know that anti-racism is just the code word for racism, but the good one. Joshua Young, a corrections officer in the Colorado prison system, was shocked by the lessons of the anti-bias training session he was required to attend in March 2021, with its references of white supremacy, white exceptionalism, and white fragility. The training sent a clear and disturbing message to his mind. All white people are racist. I thought the training was potentially harmful to our staff relationships between staff and offenders, and undermined us in so many ways, Young, 47, said in an interview. It told us basically that we were unable to treat people fairly just because of the way that they look. And this is the unconscious bias in action. This is what, like when kids were being taught anti-racism and people were pushing to have CRT, critical race theory, removed from schools, and everyone was like, oh, you guys are just racist, we're just teaching history. This is what was happening. Unconscious bias is the biggest con in psych research. It's not real, just a product of the research. Unconscious bias is just fancy language for you've noticed too much. I wasn't racist until they told me not to be. Oh my god. So Young sued, becoming one of more than a half-dozen white plaintiffs alleging workplace bias trainings tread on their civil rights. The cases are part of a broader legal and political backlash that has targeted an array of DEI programs, from corporate fellowships to state and federal programs aimed at ensuring that women and racial minorities have access to jobs, government contracts, and other benefits. As the legal battle intensifies...
Your boyfriend lets you have 2 cums?
Actually, I'm glad I was interrupted by the 2 cums, because something came up in my mind here. Whenever people bring up the whole... whites are becoming a minority, are we going to get these benefits when we're a minority? People are just like, oh, are you admitting that you treat minorities terribly? Like, they want to guilt trip you because you're saying, hey, wait a minute, why is the population percentage for my people declining? And they want to gaslight you into being like, oh, are you going to admit that being a minority is a bad thing? And it's like, well, no. Everyone with eyeballs knows that it's not a bad thing because minority classes are given immense amounts of privilege. We've seen it in education, we've seen it in jobs, we see it in DEI. It's essentially a bloodless invasion. We're a global minority already? Yeah, that's true, but we're talking on a country scale. As the legal battle intensifies, DEI training is coming under special scrutiny, with at least 7 court cases pending nationwide alleging that it constitutes workplace discrimination. Some practitioners have responded by voluntarily dialing down aspects of their anti-racist curriculums, increasingly in demand since the murder of George Floyd in 2020. A perfectly timed Vine boom. They can't help themselves! Saint Floyd must be mentioned in the texts, the holy texts. Blessed be his fent. I'm just like, it is actually crazy. This was a canon event for these people. It was like the coming of Christ. I also like how they admit that they've dialed down some of their anti-racist curriculum so it can go a little bit more under the radar. What do you mean by this? I thought all of us who were pointing that out were just conspiracy theories. This bridge thing, I wasn't supposed to exist. Which critics say go beyond traditional efforts to awaken white people to their inherent biases and instead paint them as inherently racist. So critics aren't saying, hey, you're being racist to white people by saying that they're born with an inherent bias that they have to work their entire life to not have. But you're painting them as inherently racist, and that's the problem. Well, you're not really doing a good job of criticizing it, my man. In his lawsuit, for example, Young claimed mandatory anti-racism training in the Colorado prison system fomented a hostile workplace for white employees. Though the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit dismissed the suit, a 3-judge panel found the training troubling on many levels, saying its ideological messaging and race-based rhetoric well on the way to constituting harassment. Okay, so how did the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit dismiss the suit? How did they end up dismissing this? Because, I mean, the 3-judge panel is very obviously correct in that it is ideological messaging. This is cult dogma. You will be indoctrinated, either willingly, or even if you disagree, you'll just be unable to escape it. Really should have DEI bingo at this point. Whenever we read DEI articles... Was this before or after affirmative action overturn? I don't know when Young's court case was, but this article is recent. Here we go. August 9th, 2024. In what legal experts have called a blueprint for future challenges, the majority said Young failed to demonstrate that the harassment was severe and pervasive. Yeah. That's gonna be the next thing. Once too many people notice exactly what DEI is and what it seeks to do, they're just gonna gaslight you into believing that it's not actually as bad as you think it is. It's happening, but it's actually a good thing. Young refiled his lawsuit in June. Okay, so this was hella recent then. Alleging that the training made his job more difficult and strained his relationships with coworkers who agreed with the lessons. Man, I hate doctors and astronauts. So I just thought that was an interesting little side point from the Harley Davidson nonsense.